Welcome back. In this part of the presentation, we're actually going to go through the creation of a template called Global, which we'll use to actually go and run our application in. So to do that, we're just going to go back and recall up the admin. I just used the back arrow or the up arrow key to recall the command lines. And we'll go modify the transaction, and I had the transaction was prod. Oops, sorry, that is case sensitive. And I'm going to say it's going to use a template called Global, and we'll update that. And in here I'll make a new template and we'll call it Global, and this is the basic format we're going to have, and that is a bar across the top of the template, and below that we'll actually have the panel. So we'll actually go and create that. Now let me take a couple of pieces of information and put that in there. Now the system will actually make a directory on the system in the iNomads template directory based on your template name. So if I do an ls here star plus iNomads templates as a directory, you'll see that there is now a global directory over here. Okay. That is the directory that will contain all the information relative to the global template. So in order to create the template, we're going to need some images and some background information and to actually make a presentable image on. So first off, I need the company logo, and so I have a dummy company logo we can take a look at. I'm just going to use the system help command to actually view the logo, and I have it on my machine in a directory called live30, and it's called logo.jpg. And so that's the actual logo that we have. And if you right click on it and I ask for properties, it doesn't come up quite on the screen, so hopefully you can see it there. You'll see now it's about 175 by 100 pixels in size. So that's the logo that we have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that into the templates directory for global. So that's now copied that file into the template for logo. So we're going to use that to create our template. Now the other thing which is very handy to do on a screen, a lot of times people like to have a shadowing effect or a 3D shadowing effect. You can actually accomplish that fairly easily using standard PX Plus commands. And you can do that by actually drawing and creating a bitmap file directly from PX Plus. So let me give you an example here. So I'm going to say open one, and it's going to be star bitmap. Oops, bitmap star. And I want the dots per inch to equal 100. And I want to set the width, which is going to be specified in inches, to be equal to 0.25, and I'm going to say the length is going to be equal to 2.00. So since the dots per inch, let me move the mouse there, since the dots per inch is actually 100 dots per inch and the width is 0.25 and the length is 200, that actually will create me a bitmap that is 25 pixels wide by 200 pixels high. So we'll create that to start with. And I'm now going to print on one. I'm going to make a pen. That turns off the pen, so there's no pen being drawn. But I do want to use a fill, and I want my fill to be a shaded fill going top to bottom. The starting color I want to be RGB, and I'm going to start off being 200, 200, 200, and that's a light gray. And I want it to end up using white. Following that, I am then going to do a rectangle inside this image, starting at 0, 0, and I'm going to have it go to at x, the maximum columns of number 1 plus 2, and it really doesn't matter, I just need it to go beyond the size of the actual image here of 1. And actually I'll go plus 1, what the heck, or plus 2 here as well. So that drew me my rectangle, and now I can do a save of this file, number 1, to a file called blend.jpg. And I'll just close off file 1. So what did that actually give me as a result here? Well, let's just take a look again using system help here to actually see what that actually gave me as a result to the system. So as you can see, we actually ended up with a bitmap that actually started from a light gray and ended up in a white, and that's using the blend. So now having used that, I can put that in as a background on my screen, and I'll get a little bit of a nice blending effect. Now you can obviously do this with any other paint tool or whatnot, but we did this directly from the programming language itself. Make it life a little easier. So we're just going to copy that file over here to star plus iNomads templates global slash blend.jpg. So we'll copy that file over there as well. So that's taken care of that. So let's go back to the administration program. I'm just recalling back commands, saving me typing them again. And let's call up the global, and let's start laying out what I want the template to actually look like. So we're going to start off with what the body is, and we'll start off with deciding that we want to use a Tahoma font. That is probably the most common font we want to have. We want the standard page background to be white, and the panel background also to be white, although we could actually put an RGB pattern, or we could indeed hit the color selector and use the standard color picker as well. We want our panels to actually have a border around them. So I'm going to pick one up. I happen to be, personally, I like groove. And I happen to like groove with like 3 pixels wide. And I'm going to pick a color. And I can just pick this one again by using this. But I'm just going to put a color in here. 3F0505. And don't ask me how I got that. I did this earlier on. I just happen to like that color. But you can actually select any color you want. Want the panels to have a rounded border, and we do want them to have a shadow. So we're going to apply those changes to our template. And then we can start talking about the actual panel header. This is the text that will actually appear across the top of your panel that has the title of the panel. And since we start with Tahoma, let's not mix fonts because that does always make things look a little tacky. So we're going to say Tahoma, and I want it bolded. And I'm going to want it to be about 18 pixels high, and I want it to be in white. Okay. And then the color, for this one I will do a little bit of a picker here. Let me just color in here. And again, I want it to be a gray. I'm keeping with some gray colors here. Let's just make it that. Let's make it a little dark, a little lighter than that. That's a little too that's better. So I'll pick that color there. So we have the color is 45, 45, 45 on the system. So that takes care of the color. So that'll be the background color for my panel header and the text size and whatnot. So we'll apply that. So now next I want to go in here and I want to go into the layout. Now on the layout we have a choice of whether we want the top section or the second section. So you can actually select whichever section you want to edit. We're going to edit the top section on the system here. And we're going to put in a color in here, and for that color, again, I'm just going to take, now I happen to know this off by heart, I'm going to take a dark gray, and we're going to assume that that's your company color, and it's number 333. And if you remember correctly, when we did the logo, and we looked at how big the logo was, it was a little over 100 pixels high, so I want some space on it, so I'm going to make the top section 150 pixels high. And in here now we're going to go add into the section. We're going to say it includes an image. And the image is going to be under the templates directory. And it's going to be under global. And it's going to be logo.jpg. I don't need to worry about its width or its height. But my vertical position is going to be, well, I'll just show you what the options are here. I'm going to put the vertical position to be in the middle and my horizontal position. So I'll set it up to the left. Now, one of the things I should point out too is you have these two other columns called vertical adjustment and horizontal adjustment. And what these do is, if you've just in this case had it as middle and left, then it would be directly in the middle of the section and directly on the left margin. In our particular case, we want to indent this image slightly, so we're just going to move the horizontal adjustment, which is the left-right adjustment, and we're going to have it increase that by 10 pixels. And what that will do is that will actually put 10 pixels in front of the image that we were working on here. I'll also add in some text in here. We're going to put in the text in here to say the words Global Industries. And we'll make it a font. So I want it to be a big font. So we'll go Tahoma and we'll say comma 30. And that 30 will represent 30 pixels. The color is white, and again we're going to keep it in the middle, and we're going to keep it in the left. And in this case, though, we're going to move it a little farther over to be horizontally offset 225. So we'll apply that, and that takes care of the primary heading across each of the panels. Last but not least, we're going to take a look at the panel section itself. And on the panel section, we want to add in the panel, I want to take that gray blended text that we had. So we're just going to simply say in here /templates/global/blend.jpg. And it is going to be a repeat, and we only want it to repeat upon the x-axis, so that's left to right. So we're going to say repeat that across that, and we're going to make sure that it starts at the top left, and we're going to apply this. Okay, let's close this off, close that off. Now let's take a look at our particular, I'll go back here far enough. Oops, there we are. Go back and take a look at our screen. So here's our screen. This is what our template now looks like. We have the logo in the upper left-hand corner. We have the title of Global Industries. We have our sign-on screen. And you can see the blended gray coming here, top to bottom, fading in and out. And I can go in here and type in John. And I can type in, whoops, Smith. Here's my login. And there's my screen all ready to go, complete with my product lists, my query system, and everything else that we told the management that we would actually put in for them. And we have it all now up and running. So that takes care of what we were going to show you at this stage. And we're going to take a look at the next part of the presentation and see what other nice bells and whistles we can add into that application. And thank you for watching.